Welcome back everyone to the Working Class Revolt, and today I want to talk about and show you a clip of the Jeremy Vine show where they're discussing illegal immigration, that's people coming over here usually by boats, and I want to talk about the impact that's having on people and the current government's plan to tackle this and the promise they made during the general election, and to show you what even programmes like the Jeremy Vine show, which are very to the left, very establishment, very mainstream media, are saying, and what even now the newspapers like the Independent are beginning to say about the Labour Party's plan, as well as civil servants who we know quite often, or most of the time, lean to the left and support the agendas of governments, particularly in this case, that the Labour Party champions. Please take a look at this clip.
Calls 020 7862 2222. On Saturday, 9 boats were intercepted, 9 carrying 572 people who were trying to cross the channel. You can see then this story in the Independent. And this is actually quite an anti-Labour story in a way, which is unusual for them. Smash the gangs won't work. Verdict from Home Office officials on Labour small boats plan. So that was what we were told during the election, that Labour would get in and smash the gangs. It hasn't happened. It may never happen. And the Independents say civil servants are warning nobody understands how they're even trying to do it. There's a thing called Border Security Command. Nobody knows how that's working. Officials are not overwhelmed, underwhelmed, apparently, by the strategy because they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And this year, we've had 32,691 migrants arrive by boats in the UK, and that's a 22% increase on last year. It is not working, Gemma, whatever it was.
Well, firstly, I think whatever they are doing needs a chance to bed in before we decide the numbers, whether they've been affected or not. We don't know yet. But it probably won't work. And the reason being, until a government does the right thing, which is to restore safe and legal routes, you won't stop the boats. You just will not.
You won't stop them anyway for people who are turned down. So if you're turned down from a safe application where you make in Kabul or something, if that's possible, you'll take a boat.
Well, OK, here's my understanding for why that would work. So how many boats have arrived this year, or how many people? Thousands, yeah?
32,000.
Thousands.
32,000.
How many people do you think arrived by boat July 2014 to June 2016?
No idea.
9 people. 9.
9?
9. And 16...
Oh, I see, you're talking about the EU here. Right, OK. You've been going back into the EU...
9 people came across in boats to the UK. 9 people.
Well, 572 people came on Saturday.
So. Yeah, exactly.
So Gemma's point is...
What is different? We had...
Well, spell it out, because people might not understand what you're saying.
It's a consequence of blooming Brexit. It is, because we now don't have a returns agreement.
So there we see the Jeremy Vine show. First of all, Jeremy discussing that the Independent, a left-leaning, Labour-loving newspaper, is printing that the civil servants from the Home Office haven't a clue on what the plan is to smash the gangs, and they're basically running around like headless chickens. And the reason for this is simple. It's because the Prime Minister never had a plan in the first place. He didn't want to admit at the general election that he was in favour of mass immigration, so he came up with a catchy headline thinking it made him look tough, that he was going to smash the gangs. So everyone's heard this a million times, but even if you was able to smash some gangs in other countries, there would just be more to take the place. It'd be like locking up a drug dealer. Another drug dealer would just take the place. We've also seen a 22% increase in illegal immigration, people coming over on the boats, to what we had last year. And we see one of the hosts talk about secure and safe routes for migrants would somehow solve the problem. Well, that wouldn't solve any problem by legally letting these people in. And the worst of the worst who the Labour Party might not legally let in would still come over illegally anyway, as pointed out on the show. But the biggest problem for me is the news that we've just mentioned, that civil servants don't know what the plan is. So for anybody who doesn't know how government works, you have the Prime Minister who then elects a cabinet. The cabinet then oversee teams of civil servants. So if the civil servants being appointed by the cabinet member who is appointed by the Prime Minister don't know what the plan is and are running around like headless chickens, then we are seriously in trouble. The numbers are going to keep going up and up and up, and it'd be interesting to see what Keir Starmer uses as his excuse when he gets beat in the local elections and the next general election comes along, because he's going to have ran out of catchy headlines, and he knows that it will be political suicide when 80% of the country are against mass immigration to tell people his true feelings that they are for it. Now, many people ask the question, why do political parties believe in mass immigration? And when it comes to the Labour Party, and for the first reason, for some reason, many in the Conservatives, they truly believe that we have a shortage of young workforce, and that these migrants you see coming over now are the people who are going to walk into them jobs. Now, they often quote things like the NHS. Well, let me ask a question. Out of the 500 people who came over on the 9 boats this weekend just passed, as the show said, how many of those people does anybody truly believe are going to be working in the NHS? Now, some of them may work on farms and things like that, low-cost labour that we do need, so maybe there is a few people that will take them jobs. But how many are seriously going to make an impact on any shortage of work that we have? And we already have the power as a nation. Let's say we had thousands of people short one year for picking carrots. That's always an example you hear. Even with a strict border, you can still then allow people in for the jobs that you need at that time. What you don't have to do is let those people's independence over as well. You give them a work visa, you don't have to give them full citizenship. So the idea that you hear off the left, that, oh, if we don't let all these people in, well, the NHS is going to crumble, is absolutely rubbish. Now, the second reason, which I think is more just what the left support, and it's very cynical maybe of me to think this, but I think they see it as potentially millions and millions of voters, and I think that's what the Democrats have been doing in America. Under Joe Biden, they let 12 million people in illegally. You then give them legal status, as Starmer has just done with the 80,000 in the hotels. Who are they going to vote for in the future? They're not going to vote anybody by Labour, or as the immigrants on the French border call Keir Starmer, the kind one. But please let me know what you think. What do you think about the boats? What do you think about Starmer's plan to smash the gangs? Do you believe that he even has a plan? Or do you think he's just hoping that he can make a deal with the EU, sign our rights way back to the single market, and maybe the EU and the French will help him out, and he can say he's solved the problem without ever having to upset his left-wing base and actually do anything about mass illegal immigration? Or is he simply going to try and let them in legally, and that's the way he will end illegal immigration? Thank you all for watching, and please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.